Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ballrooms and Bachelors Podcast, where we talk about dance life and all things Bachelor. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Camille.
So this is our second episode of the third season, which is very, very exciting. So what we wanted to do today before we get into the new year, because we're recording this pretty close to when the new year is about to change or it's about to start, which is pretty crazy. But we wanted to talk about some dance updates for the two of us, some personal stuff as well, as that's kind of happened in this month over the last few weeks. And then we're going to get into, because we just posted our first episode of this season of the podcast where we talked about the first 6 episodes of The Golden Bachelor and Dancing with the Stars. So we're going to talk about the remaining episodes in this for those two shows. And they both ended, and we're going to talk about our thoughts on that. So do you want to get us started?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we I know we put it on the caption of the last post, but I think just being it's your senior year and like it's the whole holiday time frame, the fall, it's all like super crazy. I think we just had a lot of delays with like getting the episodes up, less technical issues.
Yes, technical
conflict and all this stuff. But I think, we're just switching to this monthly format, and we've talked about like plans for the new year and everything. So just thank you all for being patient.
For bearing with us with our technical difficulties. It's like,
but yeah, we have a longer break now before like the Bachelors coming up.
Yeah.
And I know that like in the last episode when I was just like re-listening to it, there were just a few things, like we have some other shows that are coming up. I was talking about the HGTV show that they're going to be doing. I don't really know the premiere date for that yet. I'm correct. I just wanted to correct the fact that Chris Harrison did not host House Hunters. He hosted Designers Challenge, which was a different HGTV.
So just correction with that.
I did love. I mean, we can watch. I'm probably going to plan to watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives to catch up, to be prepared for Taylor Frankie Paul season of The Bachelorette. Ashley Iaconetti is going to be on The Real Housewives of Rhode Island, but I don't know when that's going to premiere, which is it's a new Real Housewives franchise. So there's plenty to watch. I know American Idol, not that we cover it on here, but American Idol is another show that I watched that I was watching.
Me too. So I'm sure we could give some thoughts at some point.
ABC Family. Yes. So I think we've just got all of these different things coming up. So while we're doing all of that, waiting for the next season of The Bachelorette and Dancing with the Stars and all of that, you can catch up on our episodes.
Yes.
So so I think just some of the updates that I had, we had done the episode like It was
the night of the Halloween episode of Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, and it was 2 nights before our Halloween party at the dance studio.
Yeah, so it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. So I'm like, I'll like go through it really quickly to like the Halloween party. We were talking about like the last episode. I talked about my showcase that I did.
Yes.
The Elwoods and like from Legally Blonde and that whole the podcast. Actually, no, it was a few episodes ago. Sorry, no. I've been catching up.
Yes.
But we talked about how like Elle wears the bunny costume to the costume party when they trick her in Legally Blonde. So like we had this running joke the whole year. Like I was not wearing that for my showcase, but I was like in my mind, I'm like, I'm wearing this for Halloween. Halloween, just at the dance studio. I will not wear it anywhere else.
Yes,
but I did. If you did see on Instagram, I did wear the bunny costume that Elle wears at the party, and let me tell you, I got it on Amazon. It was like the exact
thing, exact same thing.
And I watched Legally Blonde again the other night, like with my mom, and I was like, "See, Mom, it was the exact
same thing."
So yeah, it was not comfortable. I will tell you that, but it was just funny because then some people that were at the party didn't understand the reference.
That was really funny.
To explain, but we don't need to get into those.
And I think it made it for a really funny picture because for me, I dressed up as Fun Rider from Tangled, and then it's just like the contrast of that was so funny in our picture, but it made it really well. But it was perfect. It was great.
People know. I also won the costume contest, so they made me do part of my like Legally Blonde like dance
in that costume.
In the costume,
which you swore you were good at.
I was like, no, and I was wearing like heels or something, and they're like, come on, you should do it like that in Connecticut, and I was like, no.
No, it's like that's not happening.
I would die. So we had that like 2 nights.
That was really fun.
Which was fun. I did win the costume contest.
Yes.
And then we had the Thanksgiving party at the studio, which was the potluck, which is
always great.
Yeah, it's always great. So much food. So we had our Thanksgiving photo we took there. And then I think just as far as and we also had the holiday party at it was like the PJs themed.
Fancy I wore my fancy tree blazer, so I got to do that. Festive. I was still festive, exactly. There you go.
I did get to go to the Connecticut event that I talked about to do my showcase again. Unfortunately, I know you weren't able to make it with everything, but it was nice. I mean, Stamford, Connecticut. I hadn't been up there for I hadn't been to the Stamford studio for Dance With Me, which was great. they took us out to like the Rodizio restaurant after with like the Brazilian steakhouse. And just like the food was so good.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
crazy because there was coincidentally they had like this big holiday parade in Sanford the next day, so
Oh
I got to
yeah.
see that. And they
That's
had
so
like
cool.
balloons, and I was like, this is like a mini Macy's Thanksgiving
Yeah, yeah,
parade.
yeah.
So that was really
That's
cool.
so awesome.
So I got to see that, but the event was good. I did get a recording of the showcase from there. I have not posted it on my public Instagram or YouTube yet, but I'm hoping to get um the guy that did the recording. There was like one little editing thing he had to make change, so I'm waiting for that. And I'll probably post that video versus the one I did in Dallas. Just because I think it was like, there were more things that I added to
Yeah,
it that
yeah,
they just
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
public. But I think just like for me, work's just been very busy. Fortunately, right now I'm on a break from work.
Yeah.
My company closes for the holiday, like in between the holidays. So I have some time with that. And just like I think with dance right now, I'm planning to take a break. I really haven't been at the studio much aside from the parties. But I think, going into next year, I'd like to get back to doing standard and Latin on a regular, like week to week basis. But I have some other things that I have to really kind of front load at the beginning of the year, time wise. So I might try to pop in for some group classes and things, but like I just have some stuff that I'm trying to
Right.
organize.
Yes.
And then I guess the segue, there's two things that we had like updates that were combined for the two of us.
Yes.
So I'll just say both of them and you can talk about both of them.
Okay.
Matthew did his dance showcase, so a group of us went to go watch. And also, two of our prior instructors, mostly that I had worked with a lot, Lucas and Katya, came to visit New Jersey for about a week. So I got to see them like a few times just to catch up with them, and they had their young son. So Lucas and Katya are from Czech Republic. After they left the States to go back, like a year or two after, they got called to be on the Czech version of Dancing with the Stars, which is called Star Dance. Now, I don't understand Czech, but I love watching the videos. And they used to send, Lucas like pulled up the DVDs. Katya was on the last two seasons, and Lucas was only on the previous season, but Katya actually won this last season, and Lucas got third. So it's crazy because they're telling us how, like, when you go around in Czech Republic, they're, like, famous.
And celebrities, yeah, that's so awesome.
People come up to them and get photos and everything, so it was really great seeing them again.
It was, yeah.
It was the first time in 4 years, and, like, especially for me, because, like, Lucas was my first Latin instructor, and I also danced with Katya. I also did standard with Lucas as well. And David, too. So, it was like a really nice winter surprise.
Yes.
And your showcase was awesome. Like, we were all talking about how, like, you did great, and then all of your classmates, it was like of all the shows we've seen, I think there was the best choreography at the show.
I agree.
So with that, I will let you take it up.
Okay, yes. I will kind of continue what you were saying about it was really cool to have Lucas and Katya come over because, like you were saying, Lucas was your main instructor, but when I started the studio, they were only there, and I think Katya had already moved like on to Long Island, so she wasn't really around very much, and Lucas was there a little bit, but I had just started, so I was only doing maybe like a few lessons every few weeks, and again,
he was only coming to Glen Rock once a week.
So I only probably saw him like 3 to 4 times, maybe 5 times. And I remember when he came over, or when they were about to leave, Elena was telling us, oh, one of our instructors, Lucas, is going to be leaving, and they're going to be moving back to Czech Republic. He's going to be doing his final group class, so like we'd love to come out and support him. So a few of us were there. And one of the things that really like stuck out to me was just how kind both Lucas and Katya are. It was just really like stuck with me, and that's why I'm just so glad that they got to come back because I got to see them. Because like you had said, that I didn't really get to interact with them very much, but even that short amount of time, they left such a lasting impact on me with how kind they were, and they were both saying like, "Oh, you're gonna do great," because I was telling them I was a new student and everything. So they were just so kind and so supportive. And like you were just saying, that the young son. He's much older now, which is so cool to see him much older. He's running around and like acting like every kid does, which was so cool. But he was like in a stroller and an infant when I first met them. So it's just cool to see them again. And it was great. And then going on to the dance showcase, it was just so incredible. It was so much fun. And I agree with you, even just as being a member of the club, I agree that I think the choreography this semester was the best out of any semester. It's just everybody was just so good, and it was definitely like a bittersweet kind of semester for me, just because going into next semester, I know that next semester is going to be my last showcase before I graduate, and that is going to be very emotional for me. I think what helps is that because there's some times where there's like when I've done showcases before, or that they don't have a lot of seniors graduating. Maybe it's like one or two people. But this semester, a lot of us are graduating.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be nice and it'll be very helpful to me to kind of have that emotional support because I know that a lot of my fellow members of my dance club are also going to be in the same boat as me and they're going to be just as emotional. So, but I have a lot of exciting plans for that. I will definitely believe it as the surprise for now, but I do have a few things that I'm going to audition to hopefully be cast in the showcase in the spring. So I'm very excited about that. What else? Just like we were talking about, and I think this is what you were saying with you having off from work. It's been nice for me because I've had off from school, which has been really, really we're catching up. Yes, because it's just been so crazy. I think for both of us that like we realized in the summer when we were doing Paradise, it was a little bit less just crazy because we didn't have as much going on with school and work and stuff. But then uh once kind of our busy schedules kicked in and then Dancing with the Stars and Golden Bachelor were both at that same time. I think that's just kind of one of the reasons why the kind of delay and technical stuff with hosting, it just became a little bit difficult. So just long story short, it's definitely been nice to have the break. I think kind of my mental and physical kind of state was starting to feel it towards the end of the semester. And so now I've really benefited from just catching up on rest and relaxing and stuff. So that's been great. Like I talked about in the last episode, I am actually going to be starting my senior thesis film. Like we're going to be starting to film that. I talked about that. I was in pre-production, just finishing that in the last episode. But we are about a month away. Actually, a day from tomorrow, or as of tomorrow, we'll be a month away from filming, which is very exciting. A lot of work has gone into it. I think it's hard for people to really understand that I'm not in the film industry or a film major. Obviously, you can understand putting hard work into stuff for really anything, but there's so much that goes into pre-production, especially for like a thesis or a student film or something like that, because really most of the responsibility falls on your shoulders, especially with me, because I'm the writer, director, and producer of my film. And I'm so grateful because I have two amazing assistant directors and my best friend is my co-producer, and they've been such a huge help in logistical planning and different things with getting scenes together and stuff. And I'm so grateful for them. But at the end of the day, everything is kind of on me. And whether it's casting decisions or finishing the script, location scouting, everything like that. And as you can imagine, that's a lot of work. So I think that kind of led to my like kind of being overwhelmed towards the end of the semester. So I think once we go into production, that will be its own set kind of challenges, but I think it will be very, very exciting. And I'm very, very excited to kind of get the ball rolling on that. Just because the script is something I've had and the idea since before freshman year. So it's been like 5 years in the making. So now kind of being able to actually be on set and starting to make the film is gonna be very exciting. Um, what else? Okay, yeah. So kind of to finish up what you were talking about with dance, I would also kind of I'm in the same boat as you where I would like to hopefully, and I actually just had kind of a update slash goals phone call with Elena about 3 weeks ago or so. And I didn't realize I didn't even told you about that. So I was like, this is new information. But yeah, but her and I talked on the phone for a little bit, and we just kind of discussed some goals that I was hoping to do. And basically, what we kind of discussed and what I was telling her was a kind of just with my kind of spring semester and everything like that, I think it's probably very realistic or much more realistic that I'll be able to compete after I graduate and not before, just because obviously with the film and then final class and stuff, it would just be hard to kind of throw in prepping for a competition in the middle of that. So I think kind of what our goal is to maybe to do standard in Latin, like end of the summer mini match or fall mini match if they have one next year. I think that's kind of like the goal that we want to do. But just like you were saying, I'd like to get back into competing because I've really, really missed it. I think I said in the last episode, it's been almost 2 years since I've competed. So I really, really missed that. And then also I described her or just we discussed the free showcase ideas that I mentioned in the last episode. So I do it's definitely it's definitely a lot. But there's one we're really going to focus on. I did mention that the contemporary one that is very important to me, I think is going to be the big one that we're going to focus on at the beginning of the year. And then the other two are kind of going to be like just for fun, and whenever we get around to them, we'll do it because it'll be fun. But I think the contemporary one, that's very meaningful to me, I think is going to be the one we're really going to put a lot of kind of time in. And I think we'll probably try to start working on that maybe once I start or finish filming my thesis film, which will be like March-ish, end of February, March-ish. So yeah, that's kind of it. A lot of updates, I think, for the both of us. But yeah, it's definitely crazy that the end of the year is coming, but I think it's going to be a really exciting 2026. I can definitely
Yes.
feel that, so
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Like I mean, you've got your path is like more set. I think for me, I'm just adulting.
Adulting.
And just work and things. But yeah, like I mean, I think with dance, like I didn't really know like this past year what I was going to do when I did the showcases, and now I'm like, okay, on to the next thing.
Exactly. I kind of think that's how plans work, is that
Yeah.
like you maybe have an idea and you don't really know how you're going to go about them, but then once you kind of make
Yeah.
them happen, you're like, oh, okay, that happens, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm very, very excited for our futures in the coming year.
Yes.
But I think we have a lot to discuss for
Yeah.
as you guys know, like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, we did the first 6 episodes of the two shows that
Yeah.
were showing in the fall, Dancing with the Stars and Golden Bachelor. So now we're going to talk about kind of the remaining episodes of both of those shows. So do you want to get started on those?
Yeah, I think before we do that real quick, just one other thing, we'll just put it here.
Yeah.
Just remind everybody again.
Yeah.
So right now, like we said, there's not going to be any Bachelorette episodes until March.
March, yeah.
And we might talk about the other shows that are coming up, but we had this idea to do a Q&A episode with questions about anything.
Anything.
People asked us if they could ask us questions about Harry Potter. So
we'll answer questions.
You better ask a question, at
Yes.
least one or two.
You need to.
But yeah, so just saying, DM us on Instagram. I think that's just the best way, so we have one central place to locate the questions.
Yeah.
Please, by Monday, January 12th, I think we'd like to record probably that week.
Yeah.
You can send it to us by then. We'll do another post on Instagram reminding everybody. But if you have questions, we'll probably talk about some other hot topics if we don't have too many questions. But
we kind of just want to do something. Yes, this is your chance. Like we want to do something kind of fun before we go into the new Bachelorette season and everything with all the shows we recap and stuff. I think it will be fun. We just wanted to do something fun that's not kind of related to the two shows we talk about. So I think it'll be fun to talk about other topics that we don't usually cover. Yeah. So
it can also be about the
shows. About the shows,
but
yes.
But like they can also be different. So
they also, yes, it's up to you. Yes.
But yeah. So all right. So I think we'll go to Dancing with the Stars. We left off. We were actually recording while Halloween night was occurring.
Yes.
So if you want to pick it up from then, I think right now it's like it's so hard to go through all of it, but like just see like maybe where your top episodes and like takeaways from that evening.
Yes, I pretty much what I did is because I knew we were probably going to be recording a little bit later, so I took very short notes on just the top dances again. I really didn't want to go too crazy. But the first dance I had for Halloween night was Dylan and Daniela's Viennese Waltz. And that was just so incredible. It was just crazy. Like the storytelling was so good and the choreo was incredible, like we always talk about with Danny. And I think Daniela, it always goes back to like, I think it all started with her and Amon's Halloween dance. Every time that there's a Halloween dance, you know that Danny's gonna kill the choreography and the storytelling. Just she always has that. She always shines in those. And I really loved the addition of the blindfold at the beginning, where she was just dancing with the blindfold. I thought that was really creative and amazing. It added to the storytelling a lot, in my opinion. So I thought that was great. The only critique I have, and if you don't know ballroom dancing terms, like forgive me, please. But for the natural and reverse turns, which are just the turns that they're going on the floor, if you want, just the general terms, I thought maybe he rushed them a little bit, a tad in places, but not like to where it was of the whole dance. But overall, I really liked it. And as always, we always talk about that. I think his smooth/standard dancers are. Even though his Latin dances are great, I think he shines in those. Yeah. And his frame is always getting better. And so that's what I thought was great and really loved.
Yeah.
And like we talked about from week one, he is so focused on the technique, no matter what dance it is. And I thought it was great. So I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I did like that dance. The other note I had, like it was about the blindfold, but he ended up in the hospital because she broke his nose.
Yes, I heard that. I was like, oh no. I guess it fits the Halloween theme. Like it's just like, oh no.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just like, okay. But yeah, so moving on is Danielle and Pasha's Viennese Waltz. I thought this was one of her best dances of the entire time she was on the show. The storytelling was fantastic. Like she really got into the character. She was very graceful, glided across the floor as a great Viennese Waltz does. Choreography and storytelling, or story from Pasha was great. I love the costumes and the makeup, especially like with the blood and everything like that. Really, like kind of, I thought just lend itself to the storytelling as well. And again, she got into character very well, and I thought the ending where she had the like her dress and went over the camera and they both
Yeah.
disappeared, I thought that was very creative. So that was really, really cool. So yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah. I did really like that dance. I mean, I thought the Halloween dances were all great.
They were all great. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about, I don't know. I'll let you keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I have some other notes, but most of them I'll probably just go through at the end.
Okay, okay. That was it I had for her dance. So the next I had for a top dance for that night was Jordan Ezra's Contemporary. I just was just absolutely incredible. Again, just like all these dances, I think I say in all my notes, amazing storytelling, but I think for Halloween night, the pros really kind of go all out for the storytelling because the theme really lends itself to telling like a spooky story or something like that. So just all the dances stories were great. But I love how it was like done in the two sections where like he was like controlling her with like the ropes at the beginning and then they did like the side by side. And I thought that was really cool. And it kind of feels like kind of going back to Daniela, it feels like something like with them in the costumes and doing the control and stuff, it kind of feels like something that Daniela would do.
Yeah.
And that kind of feels like that to me, which I thought was awesome.
They must have given them some criticism about it because I had a note about like I guess they must have like about the prop.
Yeah.
Because I remember like the next episode, Ezra was like, I'm sorry I took a risk on it, but like it was cool.
But I liked the risk.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool. And I wrote down in here that like it really again I felt that they got in the emotion of the characters, great makeup and costume, like all the dances. And I think kind of this goes back to the prop is that I'm really surprised that that dance didn't get a 10. I don't know if that's the reason why it didn't get a 10 was the prop or the risk that he took, but I at least would have given it 110. But yeah, overall I thought it was great. But.
I'm trying to think if there were any other major ones.
Which ones do I have? I have a few more. I have Whitney and Mark's Jazz, which was the Brain Stew Green Day one where they were in that. That one was incredible.
Yeah, that was great.
And I just said they did it again because like they were just so incredible and what I've noticed with Whitney throughout the whole season is that she's such a powerful dancer. And she really, and again, people will go back with the dance experience and everything, but I always enjoy watching that. So I just thought it was great. And just like Jordan, all of them, but especially Jordan, I think Whitney and Jordan are the two that really commit to the characters of the dance. And I just thought she really did that very well. As always, the choreography and story for Mark, like 10 out of 10, so great. Just like again, costumes and choreography or costumes and makeup were also great. I feel like that was right up his alley, like the really playful, kind of unique, just story and everything like that. And it only got 110 from Bruno, and I would have given it one more, but again, I thought that was great. Did you like? I'm assuming you liked that.
Yeah, I liked that one too. Because it was funny because I was catching up on like the Call Her Daddy podcast, and they were talking about they really liked the Green Day one.
Yeah,
just like yelling, I like that.
Yeah, that one was great. Yeah. And actually, just like I think with the Hamilton dance that they did, Mark also contributed to the music, kind of the way that it was played on the show. Also, so I loved how I love how he incorporates all his talents, like musical and dance together. I did have a few more. I had Jen and Yon's Contemporary.
Yeah.
I thought this was really, really great. And I just wrote that I was so sad that she went home on this episode.
Yeah.
But I think it was a really great dance to go out on. And like we've talked about previously, I think we talked about this in the last episode, that she isn't the most like flashy or technical dancer. Like, and I think with not having dance experience, that kind of makes sense. But I think we both said in the last episode that there's something about her and watching her dance that's really captivating to watch. And I don't really know what that is, but there's just something in it. It's like, yeah, that's really fun and just inspiring to watch.
Yeah.
And I really thought she got into the character of the dance and loved the incorporation of the troupe. And then, again, great choreography by Jan. And I really loved him as a pro this season. I know there was a lot of controversy, not a lot, but just like stuff like, oh, he didn't have as much ballroom experience, all this stuff. But I really, really liked Jan. I thought he was great. Yeah. And I love how they went out on a Taylor Swift song. So it's like, of course, with like Taylor Swift's dancer, you got to do that. So that was great.
I mean, I think it was just like, especially that it was contemporary. It's not like a ballroom style. So it gave him an opportunity to shine with that. And I think, Derek did congratulate him on a great first season. I don't know I know there was discussion of like a controversy of like just talking about like him with his ballroom knowledge and it's like
I understand,
I
but
only heard about it partially and like dived
yeah,
deeper into it, but it's like I can understand a lot of the pros. They are like super into the ballroom world. So to see other people that might not have as much ballroom experience, but like get up into that pro
yeah,
category, not through that, like I can understand the frustration that they can feel.
yeah,
But I think it doesn't, I think it's hard because it's like it's almost harder for Jan then because like he has to learn the ballroom and some
yeah,
technique. And I think that's probably maybe what was like going on in the background with some of like Jen's scores that maybe
yeah,
they were like because like I think we watch it and like as much as we see the ballroom element, we know that like they're kind of modifying it, turning it into a showcase. And like,
yes,
there's only going to be so much like basic content that we would do in like a foxtrot or
or cha-cha or something
yeah
like
of
that.
that same
Yeah,
type of dance. Like you can't really get away with as much like when you're competing
no,
unless you're doing a showcase.
yeah,
So like all the Dancing with the Stars performances are essentially like showcases that honor that style with some steps.
yeah.
So there might be technical things that are off, and like maybe that's why the scores were lower. But like
It could be. And
yeah,
honestly, like now thinking back at it just now, I really think the non-ballroom dances that Jen did were actually my favorites of hers. Like I really
yeah,
loved the Aladdin jazz that she did and
yeah,
all that stuff. But I also really loved her quick step. I talked about that one of my favorites
yeah.
from the last episode was her quick step. And from that choreography, you would have never known that, at least in my opinion, that Jan was new to ballroom.
Yeah.
But in some of
I don't
them,
know
you
what his
could.
full experience is, so I was like, I should check. But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in general,
In general,
yeah,
but yeah, maybe yeah. But I thought, yeah, I think just overall, it was a really good first
right.
season for Jan, and I thought that Jen was a great partner for him. I do got two more for Halloween night. One really quickly was the Robert and Whitney's Argentine Tango.
Mm-hmm.
I just like we talked about that he's just such a true leading man, and I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like Dylan. I think they're very similar in that way. And as we mentioned before, he's a very natural performer. He's just
Yeah.
very comfortable out there, and I really love that about him. And I
Mm-hmm.
love the set and the costumes too. I thought that was really, really cool. And I
Yeah.
think this was some of the best choreography I've seen from Whitney in a long time. And she's great, but like I think
Mm-hmm.
this was just very, very just incredible, and I just loved it. So yeah, very quickly, I thought that was great. And then the last one I had was Alex and Val's Tango.
Yeah.
I thought this was just awesome. And like we've talked about
Mm-hmm.
before, Alex is just like always gets in the character, and I think that's something that she really shines in as well and gives it 100%. I think just
Mm-hmm.
like Whitney, Alex, like they all obviously give it 100%, but like they really dive deep into what they're doing, and I think that's incredible. Um, as always, the choreo from Val was great. Makeup and costumes, just like always with everybody, really added to the story. And I also really liked that Val added some like contemporary elements. Like there was that one, I don't know if you remember, but there was this one like thing they did where they like kind of dipped her to the floor and then like she shot back up kind of
Uh,
immediately. It was something like
yeah.
that. I just rewatched it a few days ago. That's how I remember. But I just thought that like even though like Tango is very very specific, I think especially with like you said, we're talking about like they might be
Mm-hmm.
looking for specific content and stuff like that. I thought it was cool that Val did that and maybe
Yeah.
added some stuff that wasn't Tango content, but overall was, but then added some other elements, which I
Yeah.
thought was super cool. I did have one honorable mention, and it was Elaine and Alan's dance.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about that because, like we talked about when we were recording the episode, it was the night of this episode, and we were saying that she was in the hospital. And so just like they do with most of these things where somebody's hurt or sick or something like that, they show their dress rehearsal footage. And I was just so impressed with how she committed or how committed she is. And really loved the determination.
Yeah.
And I really wish we could have seen the whole dance, and then that's obviously a shame,
Yeah.
but I'm really glad she made a full recovery from her injury because as we'll talk about in the further episode, she really shined in her like final dances.
Yeah.
And so I'm just glad that she was able to come back.
Yeah, I was too. I think did you have any other dances? Because
I
I had other like comments.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say so Cheryl Burke was the guest judge for Halloween.
She was. I'm so happy she came back.
Yeah, yeah. It was because she was a former pro and she came back to do that. Elaine, I was gonna mention about with the injury again. Glad she was able to recover because
Yeah.
she's great in these upcoming weeks.
Yeah.
There was some whole segment they had about like Dylan won the sexiest tattoos of the year or something, and
Yeah, yeah,
Derek
yeah.
apparently said something that if he had won something, he'd shave his head. So they were teasing him about that because he won sexiest 40-year-old or something.
Oh, yeah.
They also did this like dance competition that they
The
call
monster on.
where they were out on the floor at the same time, and then they
Yeah.
had like the Grim Reaper come and remove them.
Yeah.
And then Whitney and Mark had won that, and
And I
then
thought that they were the best. So
yeah,
and I thought it was funny. Like I just put in my notes that it was cool to see them do hustle on the
yeah,
show. 'Cause, like they never do hustle, but in our studio, obviously that's
yeah,
a part of the studio. So it's like, oh, that's cool. And it's also cool that the reasons I like those like marathon things is that like it really makes it seem like a real ballroom
yeah,
competition, which I feel like a lot of viewers of Dancing with the Stars don't really know what that's like. But
yeah.
obviously with us and with the competing experience, it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
So
And I think Mark and Val started dancing together at one point. I just had a note. I don't remember it.
yeah,
I wrote it
I
down.
wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
they did. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
probably just did that. So,
Yes,
all right, on to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
yes, yes,
So the guest judge was Flava Flav, which
yes.
this did stir up some controversy because he doesn't seem to have as much dance experience.
Yeah.
I felt like he was rhyming for all of his feedback, which was entertaining, but there were some discrepancies with the scores. I'm like skimming.
We kind of
through.
talked about that last episode where we were talking about how most of the theme nights, it seems like they've been having people that have had
Yeah.
dance experience. I think this was the one exception.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's stirred up some controversy, but I think yeah.
Yeah.
And so let me see the dances I have. So Jordan and Ezra's jazz, I thought was really, really good. They really got in the character as she always does.
Tina Turner.
The Tina Turner one,
Yeah.
yes. That's why I was saying I really love the costume. Yeah, it was just so good. And it was really fun and upbeat and matched the music. I love the look. Like you said, she was just like Tina Turner. It was so good. It really was just a fun routine. I thought it was great. The next one, oh, this was so good. Dylan and Daniela's Jive. This one to I'm Still Standing.
Yes.
This one,
Yes,
and then they were like interacting with Bruno because, as you guys know, Bruno was in the original Elton John music video of this song.
Yes.
So I thought that was really funny. But again, with the technique, it's just he's so good with it. It's really shocked me with somebody with no dance experience is like we were talking about, like he was doing like lock steps in his week one cha-cha or something. I'm like, wait, he's never danced before?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. Jive is not easy.
And Jive is not easy. And it's probably one of and he's probably one of the celebrities that has taken this the most seriously, which I really, really like that about him.
Yeah.
And I think also, again, just having Daniela as a pro is such a positive for him. Again, great Jive content. But yeah, great. And I was like, can we talk about that switch up? Because they did like a thing where they like did this whole like slow down like club version of the song for like 10 seconds, and then they went back into Jive, and it was like so funny. But it was great. Yeah, I love that. The next one I had was Robert and Whitney's Paso. This was so incredible. Again, choreography by Whitney was great. I really, really love the costumes with this one, where they were all like in the red. I thought that was awesome. And he continues to be that leading man, just like Dylan. And those knee walks, again, those knee walks were so good. Like again, I've never attempted to do them. I've seen a lot of people on social media like attempt to do them from just watching the show this season, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do it, but it just seems so difficult. I'm like, no, maybe I'll wait on that. And I was like, and I said those knee walks, and I said in my notes, and as Derek would say, I see you, I see you.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta do my Derek impression. And I love the beginning with the flags. I thought that was really cool. On top of the stairs, so I thought that was great. Next was this was so good. I think it was one of my favorite dances from her was Alex and Val's Paso to Living on a Prayer. This was so good. I was really so close to perfect score, and I would have given her a perfect score. But Flavor Flav, I know, and he meant to give her a 10. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I was really curious to see how she would do kind of with like a fiercer dance, because like we talked about with like the Wicked dance and all that stuff. She's shown off her like playful side and bubbly side and everything, and kind of the cha-cha stuff and everything. But we've never really seen her do like a serious dance up to this point.
Yeah.
And she really delivered with this. And again, amazing choreo from Val. And one of my favorite parts that she did was she did like that hair flip thing, like right as like she was gonna go, yeah, and that was really, really cool. And I was like, when she did that, I knew she meant business. So yeah, she was really, really good.
Yeah, she also got the video message from Bon Jovi because she's from New Jersey, which I like forgot that she was from New Jersey. So I was like, oh wow,
this is like a coming full circle. I love that. Then which one is it? I have Whitney and Mark's Paso. Again, there's really not much to say about just how fantastic she is. Again, like I think I said in this 2 dances ago, that she's such a powerful and committed dancer, and I just love that about her and watching her dance. Just as always, Mark will always deliver a true and classic Paso. or true and classic any ballroom choreography, and this was that with the paso. Tons of content and really loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything else? I have a few more.
Danielle and Pasha's, I just because
Yeah.
they needed a contemporary to dream on, and
Yeah.
she just wanted to do something that was related to her cancer diagnosis, and
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. I always love the contemporaries.
Yeah, me too. The contemporaries were great.
Different.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing. And unfortunately she went home on this night, but again, just like Jen's dance that she went out in the contemporary, I thought for her to go out in the contemporary like this, I thought this was great.
I forgot she went home that night. Yeah. At least it's like at least she was able to get that out there.
Exactly.
And then they also had what was the other one? Elaine and Alex.
Yes.
They did the
so good.
Results. I mean, she came back 37 out of 40. I was like, thank goodness.
I know.
She was able to come back strong, and she was great.
It was like I said, it was so graceful, beautiful. Frame was amazing, and just like I said, you would have never known that she was injured. And so like she came back with a determination. Was like, you know what, I'm back. So I'm like, that was great. I only wrote down the notes, or very small notes about the team dance. Did you? Yeah.
I put so there was Alfonso and Julianne were part of them.
Yes.
So
that was fun.
Andy and Danielle were the captains, and they got to pick. So there was Team Chicago, which was Alfonso, Danielle, Jordan, Whitney, and Dylan. I'm just going based on the celebrity names. And then the band Chicago played live, and honestly, it was amazing.
Incredible.
It was so good. And then of course they had to get Alfonso doing the Carlton.
Yes, they gotta do that. But it must be in his contract.
You got to do the contract. Portion that they had to dance without their partners, which I thought was good.
That was cool.
Challenge them to do that.
Yeah.
They got a 40 out of 40. And then Team Cool had
Cool in
the Gang play Celebration, and it was Julianne with Andy, Robert, Elaine, and Alex. And they got a 38 out of 40, so...
And I think the scores reflected that. Like, I loved both, but Team Cool was great, but I don't think anybody was beating Team Chicago. It was just great. It was fantastic.
They were just like on target.
So committed to
it. It was just the style of the dance too. I think it just seemed like it was just very put together.
Yeah.
So I think that was really all I had.
That's all I had for rock and roll. Yeah. So next is the 20th birthday party, which is crazy that it's 20 years old, because like we've talked about, I think when we first started this podcast, that like how long we've been watching this show. So the fact that it's 20 years old is like making me feel so old. So I'm like, wait a second.
But I was like 11 when I started watching these shows.
So it's just like, oh my gosh. But yes, I was one.
Maybe, well, yeah, you were.
I was younger than that
when it started, but like maybe roughly around the same age when you started watching. But
pretty much, yeah.
My shoulder.
Oh no.
If you pick that up.
Yes, it's just like the mic picks up. But so for the 20th birthday party, the first dance I had was Alex and Val's Foxtrot, and I just wrote, this was what I'm talking about, because this was so good.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about Alex, because like we just talked about with her fierce, like fiery paso.
Yeah.
It's like you can go from that to like a graceful and elegant foxtrot, and the song was great because it was like a very like classy version of like kind of like that kind of 50s version, Singing in the Rain, all that stuff. And it was so great.
That's right, yes, because they all did a tribute to a previous freestyle routine.
Yes.
So theirs was for Neve's one that he did for Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain, yes. And so I just thought, again, she truly just gets into the character of each dance.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be very hard for a lot of people, but her, it just seems so effortless. Again, Val with the choreography, amazing. And just some technical things, like, again, I always try to, like, always see what the technical things, like, do people even care when I mention these, when we mention these? But you're like, I'll just give you some education if you want to know. The things I noticed was her framing the rise and fall. I really noticed that, and I thought that was great. And yeah, I was just so impressed by having, again, like, fiery paso with elegant and classy foxtrot. Like, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think I was just gonna the good thing I also, like, before the dances at the beginning, they had the original pros and then the current pros. Like some of them, I think they had like Edita. They had I think it was Louis. Like
Louis, yeah.
I saw Tony Dovolani. Was he?
Maybe I think he might have been there. Yeah.
It was, or maybe was he? I don't know. But they had a bunch of like the original cast.
Yeah.
And I think the guy that was the first winner with Kelly Bonnet, I don't even think he's like on the show anymore.
No.
Like I don't even
Alex Miles. Yeah, Alex Miles. Yeah.
So and then they also had Tim Bergeron do the intro, and then
Tom was so great.
So he was the guest judge. The best part was they're like, you know, what are you thinking about being a judge? And he was like, well, since I'm sitting next to Bruno, I'm just trying to avoid getting a concussion.
That's so funny.
I was like, that's great.
That's so great. I miss Tom so much.
Yeah,
it was great. It was great to see him.
See him back, and
Me too.
happy to be back because I know there was
A lot of controversy with that.
I just kind of changed
The vibe of the show.
yeah, and I think it was like it's not like Tom did anything wrong to that I was aware
No.
of. So I think it just kind of came out of left field, and it's like he probably would have been ready to like pack it in.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like exactly like things how happened with like Chris Harrison, but like
Yeah.
it was just very like I think they just went in a different direction.
Yeah, I think he said
So
that. I've heard him do interviews where he was saying that like he and the producers kind of butted heads of like how shows should be casted or whatever or something like that, and I think they disagreed on that. And then he said going into that season, he kind of felt like it might be the end. So
yeah,
so I think he kind of might have had, like you said, he was kind of ready to maybe pack it in, but to us, it was kind of unexpected.
yeah, and I'm happy that he was there to, like he was able to be there for the
Be able to celebrate it, and I loved how he
there.
did the whole. Alfonso was like, "Do you want to do the honors?" And then he like had him do the whole intro and stuff. So I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool. The one of another dance I had was Dylan and Daniela's Argentine Tango. I was like, this. I was like, what was that? That was so incredible. It was the choreo was fantastic. I love the arrangement of that song. It was that "Ain't No Sunshine," but it was kind of like this like
Yeah.
pop, like kind of electronic kind of version of it. It was really cool.
For Milo Manheim and Whitney's freestyle.
Yeah, freestyle. Yeah.
Milo Manheim was amazing.
He was amazing.
He was on the show. He was so good.
I'm still a little bitter that he didn't win that season, but that we can say that for another day. But again, as always, leading man, always doing that. Really leaning into the technique as always, and especially for a guy. I mean, I think either guy or girl, but like Argentine Tango is so difficult, and it's for somebody that does not have dance experience, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And then like we talked about with the technique, there's just all these little details you notice with Dylan. It's like, oh wait, he's doing that, and he's doing that, and it's just so crazy. And I was like, and that move that Daniela did at the end, it was like this corkscrew thing, and then like did like a like landed. I was like, that was so cool.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And then Whitney and Mark's Argentine Tango. That was so good. Did you what dance?
Oh, it was for Gabby and Val's Cell Block
Tango.
And I was dying. So I have done Cell Block
say.
Tango. I've done that showcase twice now. Like I did it once when I first joined the studio, like 2018.
Yeah.
Well, I joined the studio previously. The first like major showcase I did was 2018. I did Cell Block Tango with my instructor David. Like last year I had done it again.
Yeah.
And it was just like to honor
that
again and to just show how much I've like improved since then. So we like changed up the choreography. So like whenever anybody does like Chicago, and I was just cracking up because like in Cell Block Tango, there's like all the songs of all the women that killed their spins or the one that was innocent and the whole thing. And like it's such a long song, you can't do a whole showcase of the whole part of it.
Yeah.
So you kind of gotta like pick one segment.
And they picked the one.
And they picked like I picked the one with the like the guy was like chewing gum and I'm like misophonia, like
yeah.
It's the guy. But they pick like, oh, he was one of those Mormons, and I was like,
so good.
My gosh, because they're trying to like
play into the whole Mormon thing. Yeah, it's so funny.
I was cracking up. I'm like, of course they picked that.
Of course they picked that section. So good.
And I'm just like, was production like, this is the part you're doing, we're just editing it for you?
Exactly.
They were like, do you
want to do this? Or which one do you want to do? And she picked that? That's really funny though.
I think when Gabby Wendy did it. I
don't think she did that section.
She did that section, but I don't even know how much she did. I don't remember which part she did. They might have done a completely original.
It might have been. Yeah, I think so. And I wrote down, it was great. And I put this down in my notes. I was like, I know you have quite the history with this song, so I was like, I can only imagine like your reaction to it.
It was very good.
And it's really awesome to see now because as like this has been announced now, she is now Roxy Hart on in Chicago on Broadway, and I think she's going to be starting at the end of January, early February, something like that.
It was early in the year, and I know like Ariana Madix had also
played the
role.
So if I could get tickets, I'd love to go see her. I think that would be really, really cool, especially since like I don't know her performing background like besides dance. So I'd love to see her in like the acting musical theater role. So I'll try to go make it to see her. But like you said, fantastic choreography, storytelling, overall, just great. Yeah. Sharp, powerful, fierce, and I was like in that ending as well. It was kind of similar to what Daniela did. Yeah, so it was great.
Do you have any more dances like from the initial part before we get into the other portion?
I have a few more. Yes.
Okay.
I can go through them very quickly. Was Elaine and Alan's salsa.
Yeah.
I thought that was just great. Again, I thought the costumes were really cool because they like fit that whole like 90s theme.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a traditional salsa song. It was that It Takes Two. But it had tons of content still, and I love. And there was this one part where she did like all these turns in a row, and like she didn't like lose any balance, and I was just like crazy. She's incredible. Next, I had Robert Whitney's Foxtrot. And again, this was just so great. I know I repeat myself with all these, but like, I just think what impresses me so much about Robert is the like leading man mentality, and especially with like not having any dance experience at all, just like Dylan.
Yeah, yeah.
But it has the technique, and I said, for example, the rise and fall in his Foxtrot. I thought that was great. And his overall great performer. And I loved how they did like the tribute on the floor and then Bindi came up and stuff. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
So
he also had her daughter.
Yes.
There too.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. And then the last dance I had before the relay was Jordan and Ezra's Cha-Cha. I thought this was so incredible. It really had that proper Cha-Cha technique. But I also loved, like, because Cha-Cha is very Latin-y and fiery and everything like that. But this was, like, fiery and sassy and upbeat in a different way. It was, like, really her vibe.
Yeah.
And I really loved that. And Ezra is such a great choreographer and knows how to get the best out of Jordan. So, yeah, I just thought that was great. Like, those kind of, like, sassy, like, oh, yeah, like, you know who's boss, like, type of stuff. That's, like, the perfect thing for Jordan.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought that the whole beginning of the episode was great. Intermixed into the dances. I know they showed how Prince William called Robert because he had to pass up on a charity event for Prince William. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's like crazy.
Yeah, so that was, and they also did, because of the 20-year anniversary, they did like a big tribute to like everyone that has been part of the show that's passed. Like, pros, judges, and celebrities and everything. So I think that was like a really nice tribute that they did. And then they got into the relays. Yeah. And then I think the whole premise of this was they brought previous champions to come and dance with each of the remaining celebrities. Yeah. And so just even if we don't get through all the dances, or all, I mean, I don't know.
We could just say who wins. So basically, it was Jordan and Apollo Antonono versus Elaine and Rashad Jennings. They did a quick step. Yeah. Jordan won. I think that was the correct decision. They both did great, but I think Jordan was the best. Yeah. And then it was Dylan and Rumor versus Andy and Caitlin. So we got a Bachelor Nation connection with this. They did a Viennese waltz. Dylan won. Again, I think that was...
Caitlin ripped Andy's shirt, and he had a shirt with abs.
Within his shirt.
Iconic.
So iconic.
And I just want to say real quick, because, like, I heard Caitlin say, like, on a podcast, he was just, like, saying, like, she had gone to talk to him and, like, oh, I'm going to help you win. And he's like, no, like, it's not about winning. Like, it's just about that fun. And, like, and then it was, like, Caitlin was so, like, happy about that, too, the whole thing. So I was just like, and it was amazing.
Amazing.
He ends up going home that night, but it was, like, he went out with a bang.
With a bang. Love that. Iconic.
Yeah.
And then it was Alex and Joey, so another Bachelor connection, and Robert and Sochi. And what did they do again? I didn't write down the song. Jive. Yes, they did the jive. Yes.
And Joey kicked Alex in the face.
Yes.
He's like, "Are you gonna kick me in the face?" No. Boom. Kick.
Boom. Exactly. You gotta expect that. And then Robert won. I thought they were both great. So I feel like that was. I think out of the three, it was the tightest for me. Yeah. But I'm happy that Robert won. So that was it for 20th anniversary. Yeah.
Then to Prince Night.
Prince Night, which is the semifinals, which is interesting because I've never known that they've done like a theme night on the semifinals, or at least recently.
This season they just did
theme nights every night.
Everything.
Yeah. And so quickly just through the dances that I thought were the top ones. Whitney and Mark's Viennese waltz. And I'm really, really sad she didn't make it through the finals.
Yeah.
She was such, like I said before, such a beautiful and talented dancer, and I thought this was just really graceful. The turns were great, the frame was great, and then Mark really shined with her as he always does. And then I love the costumes, like where they were like in kind of like that kind of like turquoise stuff, and I thought the song was great as well. So again, I'm just really sad she didn't make it.
I honestly because I kept my notes very like light for this episode, but I will say like Elaine and Alan, their Paso Doble, I said it was like amazing.
It's so great.
I remembered it was really, really strong.
It was.
I think it was just so hard because like Whitney doesn't proceed to the finale. There's a whole
controversy,
drama, and the whole thing, and I'm like, she did do the podcast, the Call Her Daddy podcast, and do her freestyle anyway. I mean, we could just talk about that.
We can talk about that now.
Let's talk about that real quick. So I listened to the podcast this morning and like watched the freestyle. I mean, she's amazing. Like, just hearing the whole story, like, it
gives a lot of context.
Yeah, it gives a lot of context, and it is hard, because I think, like, sometimes it is hard to, like, people don't want to cheer for the overdog.
Yeah.
You want to cheer for the underdog, and there's always, like, it's just, everybody comes at the show with, like, such a different mentality, and it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard, like, watching every week and feeling like, okay, she's the shoo-in to win, like, every week, but people could say that about anybody. Like, I know people weren't always like thrilled with the full outcome of the show.
Yeah.
But like one thing that is completely undeniable that Mark brought up in the podcast is that Whitney has like a performance quality
Yes.
about her
Yes.
that you don't teach.
No, you don't teach.
You just have it. And it's like, you know what, I think there's a weird thing that like, okay, I felt like, okay, well they did the freestyle like anyway, like they got an opportunity and other people in previous seasons didn't get the opportunity. And it's like, okay, well like they're clearly like ABC clearly did like a thing to partner with Call Her Daddy and
yes.
or whatever. I mean, it was great. The performance that they did was great. It
Incredible.
was very like I don't know how it would have stood up if we saw that on the
I don't think it would have been the same. It would have
Dancing
been
with the Stars
no.
stage. It was just like,
It
but
was
like
tailored for that.
let's normalize these people like trying to just pursue dance like after they're on the show.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like I think that's the thing is already like win the mirror ball, win
Yeah.
the mirror ball, win the mirror ball. But it's like I think in general, it's just like it's cool to see her like have another thing, like another. I mean, she's going to be on Chicago now,
Yeah.
like, and I don't know about her singing, but like, you know, I guess that's the thing is it's just like it's cool seeing people enjoying dancing.
Yes, exactly.
Aside from anything with the voting and the whole
exactly. And I think what's like the hard, like you said, the listening to the podcast, because I listened to it, I think the day or two after it came out, and it just, I think, gave the dance a lot more context, like you had said. And some of the stuff that I was hearing them say about what they were being sent and comments and stuff, like really not shocked me, but really hurt me to hear because I was like, no one deserves to be sent any of that stuff. And the fact that like people were sending them like, oh, sink her and all this stuff, I'm just like, that's like so. I don't even have the words to like say how hurtful that is. So like again, especially like in this kind of show where like it should be supportive and should be like again, even if you have your favorites and everything like that, but. Again, I'm happy for her, and I'm glad that she's getting the opportunity she has. Like you said, what she has, you can't teach, and I want to normalize showing your performance skills in dancing after the show like that. So, and
then, I mean, everybody in this season was so talented, but that's why I'm like, even like Prince and I'm like, everybody did great.
Everybody did great. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I wrote down exactly because I wrote down like the repeat dances, but they all improved. Everybody improved for what they did. So like, you all saw their improvements. So that was it.
Yeah. I mean, the finale they do the judges' choice first. That like all of the judges kind of pick a dance they would like to see them redo, and I mean, pretty much everybody really nailed it.
Yes. I guess I could go through this stuff quickly. Robert and Whitney's quick step. Again, such an amazing journey for him. This was such like his dance, like the song with like "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" and then the whole thing that was really tailored him. So I thought that was great, and he consistently no dance experience, but consistently puts out incredible performances every week. So I thought that was great. And then I said for Elena Allen Drip, I was like, not me getting emotional. It was so good. It was such beautiful storytelling in the choreo. And I just said, if you were to ask somebody to do a classic rumba, that would be it. And all the rumba content was there and done with so much poise and grace. And I'm just so proud of Elaine. I think she, especially with the injury, that could have like derailed her, but she really came back and was like, no, I'm doing this, and that was amazing. I know we talked about this, and I actually went back and watched it because at first I was like, oh, I really liked it, but oh, maybe there's some things. But with Alex and Val Samba, I actually when I rewatched that, I was like, no, I actually liked it as much as I thought I did. Because I thought she really delivered, because when I watched the second time, I saw her facial expressions more. And I was like, she really threw in the fire, the sass and confidence. The choreography from Val was great. And I love the outfit. That was like the French pants for the win. It's like, you kind of like everybody knows about that.
And I'm like looking it over, and I think Alex was the only one that got a perfect score that night.
I think so.
Finale night.
And then Jordan and Ezra's Paso. Again, this was her style of dance. Because I think for Prince Night she did the tango, and again she's like, those fierce dancers are really where she shines. She shines in everything, but like when she has the power and the fierceness, like and that great song choice as well. Extensions were great, and then she did the knee walks too, which impressed me. Very impressive, very impressive. And she was like I said, giving that attitude when it's that vibe, she always kills it. And then the instant dances.
It's crazy. Like they apparently, I guess, like earlier in the season, they just like picked a thing up. Like they just recorded them doing it, and but basically they don't find this out till like right now, and they all of a sudden they have to like throw on an outfit and like come up with a dance. So like by this point in time, they should know a lot of the basics to just kind of like go through and follow. Especially for the women, they can follow a little bit better. Where the guys have to like lead a little bit more. So they kind of just need to like practice some like basic steps.
And I think that's what from what I've seen, because when they're like showing like they're blindfolded and then they're gonna like pull up or pick up the like dance style that they're gonna do. they've like shown like, oh, let's see how they prepared for this. And they're like, oh, we could have one of these four. And like you said, then they like the pros like go through the basics for like any of those four.
Yeah.
So they do that so they can be prepared for it.
Did really well.
They did really well. I did hear like 2 or 3 podcasts that I listened to that also cover the show say this. I don't think they should be in the finals. If they are going to do it, it's very, very complicated. I would rather them have the redemption dance and the freestyle because like and then maybe have these in the semifinals. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
But then and I had 3 that just really stood out to me was Dylan and Danielle's Foxtrot. That was really like surprised me just how great and grounded he was. And then Jordan and Ezra's Tango, just like the paso, very powerful. The sass was there. And I heard something from Ezra that I think he talked about this on the Dancing with the Stars official podcast with Joey. That he was like, oh, I only had like 50 seconds of choreo. And I thought I had enough, so I did. So I just told Jordan, like, improvise the last 10 to 15 seconds, and they did. Oh, so I was like, when I watched that back, I'm like, that's crazy that, like, that was all improvised, like, the last few seconds of it. And then Alex and Val's Cha-Cha, again, the personality was great. And that was it. But,
and the freestyles,
oh my gosh.
Everybody get a 30 out of 30 because I didn't put, oh, yeah, no, they did. They all did perfect scores.
They all got perfect scores.
Amazing. They were all completely different. I mean, like, Alex and Val was very, like, fierce. And then Dylan and Danielle's was more like
emotional.
Which is like, I feel like not that many people go that route on a freestyle. I
thought it was great.
It was great, and it was great for him.
Yeah.
Elaine and Alan did like the chorus line, which I was like, it was cool. It was
really cool.
It was very like theatrical, which like it suited her. And then Robert and Whitney, I literally didn't make a note about their showcase.
No, they should. It was great.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was. I think again, it was just talking about his journey, kind of like Dylan. Yeah. And so he was great, and then and then Robert won. I think I don't know what we talked about. Like they were all great. I think I'm trying to remember how I had that like broken down to like who like was going to place where.
Yeah.
But I think I knew that Alex and Robert were going to be the top 2. I was very confident in that. And I could have seen it going either way.
Yeah.
Like I would have been very happy if Alex won because I think she would have deserved it. But I'm also very happy that Robert won because like we talked about with Charlie.
Yeah.
Like she really worked for that, and you can tell that Robert really worked for this.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was great. Overall, I thought it was a great season.
It could have gone to anyone. I think Robert, like I feel like there was like kind of a feeling of like he was the favorite from the get-go because like Bindi is his sister and she had won and Derek's a judge and Derek knew and I don't think it was like I'm not saying it was rigged. I think there's like this aura of like he was like kind of a favorite to win.
Yeah.
But
that's
like
kind of
you know, I mean, and it could have gone to anybody really, but like they were all excellent.
Yeah. And they're all
was excellent. And I think Robert definitely deserved it. And I think it was nice to see him also like his story from like even just being there when Bindi was on the show.
Yeah.
When he was young and then now winning. Like he earned it, you know.
He did earn it.
They all earned it, and I mean this tour, like the tickets for this tour are astronomical because
I know
everybody
wants to see him. I'm hoping I can find them discounted because I want to go so badly.
Yeah, it's just they're
crazy
up there. But I didn't have too many notes, but like after the finale, they had the holiday
special.
Get into that. Did you have anything else on the finale? I mean, it was a great season.
That was pretty much it. Yeah, I thought it was an amazing season. I think we talked about this in the last episode that this felt a lot like that. Forgot what season we were talking about, but it was a few seasons ago. But it was like you couldn't tell who could win.
Charlie D'Amelio,
yeah, something like that. But this season kind of felt the same way too. Like any of those 5, I think could have won.
Yeah,
and in their own way. And I'm just so happy for all of them. And again, people that even got eliminated before the finale, I think they all had their amazing journeys as well. And I thought it was great. So I'm very happy with the season. I am hoping, kind of going back to the 20th birthday thing, what Tom was saying, there's one thing I'm really hoping, or 1 or 2 things I'm hoping with just the resurgence of this show again, that depending on what ABC could do in terms of like, again, the scheduling and stuff, they bring back 2 seasons a year because I think that would be very well because I think it's really it's people are wanting more than just 1 season a year. And I also agree about having the results show on Tuesday. So you can do the live voting and then it carries over to the next day. I think that would also be a benefit to the show as well.
Yeah, he said bring back the
results show.
Results show.
So I think that would be helpful because then it's like then you could like have it a whole day, and then they eliminate the person the next day rather than the same night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
feel
I
like
think it's just like the network. But I mean, hopefully, I don't know.
hopefully they can make those changes if they're able to. But
A lot happens with ABC.
yes, a lot happens. Yes.
But they did do like a one, I didn't get to watch it live, but I did watch it back on Hulu. They did like a holiday special of Dancing with the Stars, and it was, I didn't take notes, but like the main notable ones were like, they showed how like Riley's first season of Dancing with the Stars was when they did Dancing with the Stars Junior. And she did this great like freestyle with Miles Brown, who was on the show Blackish. It was a freestyle, but it was such a good dance. And they played it, and my mom was like, this whole thing. And I was like, no, Mom, I remembered this dance. It was so good. It was so good. And I just remember, like, I miss Dancing with the Stars Juniors because, like, these were, like, actors, young actors that I'm like, they would have an opportunity to, like, bring in dance, like, earlier on in their career. That it just like I haven't followed Miles Brown's like career, but I don't know, like, did he get to utilize any dance? And other stuff he's done, I have no idea.
That dance was incredible. And it's so cool to like see Riley be a pro and all grown up, and then her being like the junior pro on that season or on the, and it's kind of disappointing that it's just one season as well. I wish that could have been like extended, but I loved Jenna and Val's dance with Rome on the couch. That was so cute, so cute. That was amazing. And then there was one final one that I saw. There was like a throwback to something they did, like I think in 2015 or 16 or something, where there was like a girl through the screen, but then like and Max was there, and then they had like the same girl like on the actual ballroom floor, and it was like switching back and forth. I thought that was very creative. So I thought that was a cool thing that they did.
That was really creative. And then Alan had a lot of stuff that he choreographed. He choreographed the Hanukkah number
for his that was really cool.
That's cool. And then he also there was another one that he danced with like some of the women that they did it like a local show, and they've never shown it.
So
it's cool. I mean, it's just like a 1 hour special. It's like,
it was fun.
If it's still on Hulu, give it a watch.
Definitely give it a watch. Yeah, it was fun.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dancing with the Stars is over.
And now on to the finale of the Golden
Bachelor. Very quickly, yes.
Okay, so we really got a lot further into the season of Golden Bachelor before we had to stop recording. So the next episode was The Women Tell All.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. I know. It was a lot of stuff. I know.
So they started by playing the deleted scenes and the bloopers, which were always
hysterical. Always great. Yeah.
I'm surprised they started with that though.
I know. They usually like end the episode with that, but
they had there was this whole thing that I don't remember how this came about, but the woman, Alexandra's like, no, I don't have sciatica, but she's feeling better now because she used the massage gun that they got, so we can share it as a gift. And
right.
A massage gun, but it's fine. We don't need to go into that.
No.
Nicole was really the one that was like kind of in the hot seat a lot of the time. Like the women were all just like flabbergasted by like the whole situation, and they talked about the whole lemon bars, and I guess Nicole did spearhead the whole lemon bar situation.
Yeah.
Then again, at one point, then she goes on a monologue about like women's empowerment, and Debbie like called her out and was very blunt and was like, "You hurt me." I heard, I don't remember who it was. One of the women was on another podcast, and they were like a lot more transpired than what they aired.
Debbie
would just come out of nowhere and say that there was like a lot more that had happened.
Right.
And but and I think at the end of the day, like Carol and Terry also kind of like. Because a bunch of them were like talking and negative, and they were like, "No, let's just like stop. Can we like, let's all speak positive things." Positive moments they had in the house, which I'm happy that they kind of turned the tides. But like, I think that was just a thing. There were a lot of things that Nicole did say. Like, 'cause I remember like listening back to the last episode, like. There's a lot of things Nicole said that were just like really not great.
Yeah.
But it's also like your first time you're really like on TV, and then you don't know how all the stuff is happening. And all that stuff, but. I don't know. I mean, that was really the whole Nicole stuff.
That was pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Kathy and Susie were on the audit. Kathy and Susan. What did I say?
Susie. Kathy and Susan.
Kathy and Susan were in the audience. Somebody in the audience made lemon bars for everybody.
So that's iconic. I love that. Yes. Bring that whole like just like it would be funny if they like didn't give it to Nicole because it's like, hey, there you go. And
but then they would keep propagating.
Oh, that is true. It's like they want to just end it at this point. Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know how much Nicole like. It's just hard because Nicole's whole thing was she wanted to like launch like Instagram, social media for like women's empowerment. And not a great way to kick that off. Like if it's like her heart's in the right place, the perception is like messed up now, but I don't know. I'm sure she could take it somehow and twist it, but I haven't bothered really trying to
Yeah.
look into it, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
It's fine.
At one point they have a part like, Terry has the she does the ventriloquism.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Love that.
he also had a puppet at one point, I think, so that was funny.
It was really funny.
They brought Cheryl up and they brought out her son and granddaughters, and that was
really sweet. Yeah.
We had, and Debbie came out and it was like very emotional.
Yeah.
Mel eventually came out and then, he said some nice things to Cheryl and to Nicole, just to kind of close the loop on everything.
Yeah.
And then Jared Freed was also in the audience, and then
so good.
Hysterical.
I love Jared.
And they had more of the bloopers from the roast date that he had hosted.
Yeah.
Which were good.
Great.
And then they just had a preview of the next episode, so I don't know.
That's pretty much it. Again, like you said, I think it was a pretty like typical tell-all.
Not for the golden.
Not for the golden.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. And like, because like you said, it started out with like the drama, but then turned into like, okay, I'm trying to make this positive, and then everybody kind of got to air out their stuff, but then they're like, oh, okay, we got to close the kind of like you said, close the loop on this and everything like that. And everybody kind of ended on good terms and stuff. So I thought it was overall good. Yeah.
Okay, so we had to take a quick like 5-hour break.
Yes.
We're back.
That's why it's dark. But we're gonna finish this for you guys.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yes.
We are at the final 2 episodes of Golden Bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
So, after, the whole women tell all thing, Mel was reflecting at the beginning of the episode about his state and the journey.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying like intimacy is very emotional for him because we're getting into the part with the overnight dates.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesse and him are playing football. They go to grab a beer. They're like
they're being the real guys. Yeah, exactly.
And then Jesse's like really drawing attention to the fact that like Mel hasn't really said to the women how he feels about them.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel kind of is just like, he stands firm and like he doesn't want to use the word love until, it's the right time.
Yeah.
But Jesse kind of is trying to say to him like, but you gotta give him something, like it's not love. Which I get.
I get both sides of that.
This is just the running thing for the rest of the time.
With that stuff.
So they're in Antigua.
Yeah.
And so he has his first overnight date with Peg.
Mm-hmm.
They just take a dune buggy ride.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about what's necessary to dive deeper into the relationship, and she tries getting something out of him about how he feels about her. He's just like deflecting, but she's observing this and trying to determine if he's like even emotionally available.
Mm-hmm.
But, she's still optimistic about seeing things work out and trying to determine all that. And so she makes a joke about him Wait, what? Hold on. I made a typo. But basically, he made a joke about him not getting a prenup or getting a prenup. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
But she does at one point, like point blank, ask him, like, how does he feel about them together? And he pauses and beats around the bush, but like, he does share things.
Yeah.
But they still agree to go to the fantasy suite, and like as we've said before, regardless of what happens, it's great for them to have the time to talk off camera so they can like talk a little bit more openly.
Yeah.
And in the morning, they have to like show her bathing suit on the floor.
They always got to do that.
This goes the part where like they didn't edit this like a Golden Bachelor episode.
I know, yeah.
Regular Bachelor.
Regular Bachelor, yeah. They had to like throw in all those like it's like innuendos and stuff. And it's like okay.
But like they showed them chatting a bit, and it seemed like very positive. They seemed like at peace with each other and talking and all of that. And she said like she doesn't have any concerns that she did. And she feels a lot more positive. He was so sunburned.
Oh yeah.
I saw, but I was like, oh my gosh, he is so sunburned right now.
Yeah. But I think that's why it helps, like them having the time off camera.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about, I feel like that's why, like a lot of times, if people, even whether it's Golden or regular Bachelor franchise shows, if you have the time to talk off camera, 95% of the time, unless you get that 5% where like it's very awkward the next morning, you can tell. But like 95% of the time. You can tell it's like, oh, this is very, very helpful. Yeah. So I think them having that time, that really solidified a lot of things.
Yeah.
For them, so.
Yeah. No. So so that was the date with Peg.
Yeah.
Then they go to his date with Cindy.
Yeah.
So they go swimming with stingrays. He does not feel like stingray guy. He was like not into it.
Yeah.
It's like I can understand. Like he was nervous about being stung, and I guess they don't really like. Never has anybody gotten stung in like 24 years.
Yeah.
But like they're all over Cindy, and he's like standing there awkwardly, and he's just like. He said in the interview that like she helped him feel comfortable, and then like even the guys like are like, dude, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah. Why are you not doing it?
Exactly.
Like, I can understand if you're like genuinely afraid. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if it's one. Yeah.
But Ben has said on the podcast multiple times about how like production didn't do him a favor with
Yeah,
the way they edited it.
that's
They
true.
could have edited it to make it like cute and like cut that part out. The
Yeah,
production made him look awkward,
yeah,
which I'm like, okay, this is also not fair to him.
exactly.
But like Cindy just seemed very confident about their relationship,
Yep.
even regardless with that. But then we cut to the evening portion.
We're in for a treat with this one.
He was like very complimentary, but like he kind of almost seemed to be like warning her in a way
Yeah,
that it
that's what I
might
thought
not
too.
be her.
Yeah,
And she asked more specifically about like the future for them together, and he seems to be deflecting again, but
yeah,
he like did say like the relationship would have to develop over time.
yeah.
And
And she was kind of like, no, that's not for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, so she said you don't really have questions for me, and she feels like he hasn't shared where he's at.
Mhm. Which is interesting because I never feel like earlier in the season, at least in my opinion, maybe they hinted at this a little bit, but they really didn't edit Mel's edit to make it seem like he was not ready for a commitment, or at least
Yeah.
the way that he was making it seem like now. Now it seems like it was like full into the deep end of this thought mindset of him or of his, but that I don't think they really touched on much like throughout the season. So this was very new to I think everybody. So
Yeah, I mean, like, so she just like kind of challenges him at one point, and
Yeah.
then she was like, "That's very insightful, thank you."
Yes.
And then the line that left it on the cliffhanger before the next episode was, "When there's a will, there's a way," he said, and then she said, "Well, is there a will?"
Is there a will?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. Yep.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well,
It's just I heard people talk about this, and again, it's a very gray area because we were talking about this, I think, in the last episode when we were talking about when we started recapping the first 6 episodes, that the controversy with all the social media stuff and everything, and before when we recorded our last episode for Paradise, we were like, oh, we're not sure if we're gonna like make or if they were gonna make a change from Mel.
Yeah.
And then they still went with him, and everything seemed okay and stuff like that. But now it seems like a lot of this stuff is resurfacing. Like a lot of the recappers that I watch and listen to, and even just people in the Bachelor Nation, they because of what happened with Cindy, or just maybe the really uncertainty and all that kind of stuff. I've been seeing a lot of people say maybe should they have made a different choice for the lead.
Yeah.
And I can see that argument. I think Mel's season overall was really good, and I think he's a very genuine guy.
Yeah.
But it's hard because there was already this like kind of controversy surrounding the season.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, now there's this whole kind of plot twist at the end that's like not it's really hard to kind of understand.
Yeah.
It's like should there have been a change when they had the opportunity to do it? So it's kind of interesting. Again, it's kind of confusing, but I don't know.
No, I know that it's I mean, even like going into the next part, but it's like so the finale they do at the beginning they recap some of the key moments with both women.
Yeah.
They have a live studio audience, like the intro.
As always, yeah.
They pick up at the date. He said, of course there's a will. Like he does actually answer this.
He does answer the question, which is good. Yeah.
But the conversation was good, but she asked if he's ready to propose, and he said no, and she was not happy.
She was not. She was a bit like, no, I don't want that. So
yeah, so I'll just go through the recap.
Yeah.
And we'll go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He was like, she said, I want my guy to feel like he got struck by lightning and can't live without me, which is like, I get it.
Fair.
And then this is not what she wants, and she leaves. And he was like beside himself, and he brings this in like, well, all right, I'll keep going through in order that it happens.
Yeah.
Jesse comes to talk, like Kitten to talk to him, and like Mel's like very confused and frustrated, and then Jesse asks if he'll talk to Cindy again, and then they cut to the live portion. And they bring Cindy out in the live portion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just thought this was so crazy, and I honestly good for her.
Good for her.
I was gonna say good for her.
What she wants. It wasn't him.
It wasn't exactly good for her because what I wrote in my notes is I very strongly agree with her decision to leave. I think because I feel like she kind of like I don't sucked up to it is not the right word, but like I guess kind of settle. I guess in the fact because if she knows, especially in the golden age, like that age range, like. They really know what they want, and I feel like, again, if you know, hey, I want this long-term commitment, and this person's like, oh, I'm not really ready for that now, then you leave. No hard feelings, but you leave, like, because like you can't, like, again, you can't settle for anything, and also I found it really funny, and I was reminded by this by somebody that recaps, but it was like I guess they had to do the whole they left Mel sitting out there by himself and still had to do the fireworks that they planned for the both of them. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, way to like pour salt in the wound for Mel there.
I know.
It's just like, oh man.
I think the thing is too is like this is just, which we'll get into like at the end. You know, they're clearly in different stages, like her and Peg, and then like and Cindy and Peg, and then Mel and Cindy are not in the same. Like,
No.
Comparing those two combinations specifically.
No.
And I think that's the point, because it's like I've heard the phrase, it's like if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I think that's in Cindy's mind. It's like if you're not like head over heels about me, then like I'm not gonna sit around waiting. And I think like in his mind, it's like, well, this is the process. Like we're waiting for the end. But I think about her as like she wasn't even feeling it from him, because I know she said in like a podcast that she was interviewed like after this, like she basically said it was just like, you know, she was like going like at his pace, but it's like when you're at this point where you're potentially like being chosen or proposed or whatever, like she wanted to know.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think because there's a whole trope of like, oh, you're just like obsessed with like getting engaged. And
Yeah.
Specifically with the younger group.
Right.
But like that was not what it is. Like she just knows what she wants. And,
right. And again, good for her. I think that's the best decision. And it's interesting, like you said, I think they obviously both took it very differently, because Cindy was taking it much more as like, oh, well, you're not giving me what I'm like, we're both kind of what I thought we mutually were wanting. All right, see ya. Like again, no hard feelings, but I'm gonna go look I'm gonna go find what I'm looking for. But with Mel, he was kind of like, well, she gave up, and I don't really think that was the like thing. So like I could see like that argument, but I don't really think that's the case.
No, I think that was the like. So then they talked about how like, because in the live portion she says like he didn't come find her after the dinner and she didn't want him to. Like she feels he wasn't in it for the relationship she wanted. Yeah, and I don't think that's like disrespect to Mel necessarily either. It's just the difference. And then she said like, I don't think I need to convince a man to love me, and that's true. Amen.
Amen. Yes.
But like so he made the thing about like he felt like, you know, like you didn't finish the game. She didn't finish the journey. She didn't finish the game, and then he was like, I was in the wrong stadium, you know. But they bring Mel out to talk to Cindy, and like she compliments his shoes, like they seem okay at first, but like she was definitely being a bit defensive, and it was very like confusing. But he tries to leave it on a positive note. All I put was eek, so it was just like awkward. It was just very awkward. Well, they're just not suited for each other. No. It's just very obvious.
No, it's very obvious. I think the more that it kind of that conversation with them on the stage went on, I was like, yeah, best that they're not together. I was like, yeah, for sure.
And it's so then they cut back to like the recorded portion. Like he goes to talk to Peg. He tells Peg like she's concerned about what he said, but like he was pretty honest about
he was. He did. He was straight up said, "Oh, this is what happened with Cindy. She left." That's it. Yeah.
And then so he still, you know, he tells Peg, and it's not like thinking that okay, they're totally like stuck, and like it's like, oh, you're just picking me because I'm the last one left. But he brings Peg to meet his family, or his sons, and then his female friend from college. So it was like, oh, so he had a female opinion. Yeah. And I'm glad that the female friend spoke up for Cindy's point of view. Yes. In the one portion that she was just like, well, like, good for her or something like she said. And I was like, okay, good. So I think that's the part, they can only air so much, but I'm like, I think that like they can kind of understand the situation. But like Peg seems to connect well with everybody. Yes. You know, and then Mel said, I'm ready to listen to my heart, and that's because of Peg. So I think, well, I'll get into it. But oh wait, okay. So that's the end of the family date. Yes. Before we get into the final rose ceremony.
Yes. I think just kind of wrapping up before the final rose ceremony is that like, again, like I was just saying with Cindy and Mel, that they're clearly not suited for each other, or at least from what we've seen. I think he's much better suited with Peg. Yeah. I think they're much, like, as we'll see in the final rose ceremony, how she's like responding to everything stuff. I think they're on very similar wavelengths. It's like, yeah, we're on the same page with this, we're on the same page with that. So I think it's very clear. Like, this is the right person. Yeah. So,
So then they go to the rose ceremony, and this is another thing that everybody has some opinions about. Yeah. He gave her the ring as a promise to continue the journey together. Yes. Not as like an engagement ring, which like some people are like, what the heck? And then they bring them both out. I forgot who said it, but like we get to write our love story our way. Yeah. He does confidently say he's in love with her, and she does the same. So I do believe them. Yeah, in the live portion now they're saying it.
And like I said, they're both on the same page. Like even when she like, it wasn't like Cindy when he like said this and then was like, oh no, I don't want that. Like when he said, oh yeah, it's my like ring to like promise our commitment and stuff, all that stuff. She was like, yeah, I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
So that was it.
I think, and this is just my general opinion, I feel like Cindy was divorced. She had like moved on. She was like, I'm ready. She wants that again.
Right.
I think Peg and Mel, they were in a position that they had both been like divorced, but like more burned by the situation. And they were at the point that they were not like, not necessarily wanting that whole thing again.
Right.
Necessarily. So I think they're just at the same pace of their relationship, and that's why it works. And I do hope they work out together.
I do too, because I think they can. I really do think they can.
I think they can. It's just like became very evident that like, you know, and I think it's just like stereotypically you want, like Golden or not, you want somebody that's like they're ready for marriage. That's like the image of the Bachelor and the Bachelorette that we get, and like the people going into the season. So like I think it's just like we found two people that found real love. Yeah. And hopefully it works out. It's just like might not be the way the show has always like done it, but
that's always been kind of an interesting, I think, argument that's been made too. Yeah. That's like, is that okay? Yeah. Like the show, like you said, is painted around this whole thing. It's like, oh, you get engaged at the end. Yeah. But I think in recent seasons, there's been a lot more like relationships, whether it's been on the Goldens or on the regular shows, where maybe it hasn't ended an engagement, or it doesn't like end into the engagement. It doesn't get to the engagement until the after the final rose. So I think that's kind of maybe shifting that opinion. I think at least in the production, like kind of the production's opinion of things, of like, oh, okay, maybe we don't need an engagement. I think a lot of Bachelor Nation, that's still kind of the expectation, and I think again, because that's what this show's been since its start. Yeah. But again, I think that's kind of been shifting. But
I think it's fine. We need a more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so interesting because every single time that they're like, oh, like we've known each other like a month and a half, and now we're getting engaged. I'm like, there's no way that I would like, because like you like, I just, again, if love works on the show, great. That's why I love watching it. But like realistically, I don't think that works for many people. Yeah. So like you said, I think having a bit more realistic kind of ending to this kind of format is better. So yeah.
So I mean, I think overall the season was like
interesting.
It was interesting.
There were good times.
It was like my favorite season overall. No. I hope they're happy together.
Me too, because I think they're genuine people. I really do.
Yeah, and I think all the other, like the women, I really have a lot of respect for all of them, so I hope a lot of them, hopefully we see another one as a Golden Bachelorette.
I hope so,
or we see them in Paradise.
Yes. We'll see. Golden's in Paradise Part 2, please. 2. Exactly.
But, so then the last thing that they did finalize, like they finished up the finale with, was Jesse had a chat with the new Bachelorette Taylor Frankie Paul, which was like kind of like live from when they were recording. Yeah. Which there's a lot of stuff that they were letting her use social media. They're like, apparently there's like news things. So like, again, ABC's really going all out with trying to like do everything they can to get the publicity. But she definitely sounded very open, and she's changing things up. So
yeah, and I think Jesse asked her something, was like, oh, hey, they all say I can see my husband and wife being here. But like, again, like you said, she seems very optimistic about the process, even that early on phase of it for her. Yeah. So I'm very excited to see what happens, because like you were saying, or like we were talking about last episode, that I feel like you said, ABC and everything, they're really going to let her do a lot that's different from this other previous seasons of this show and this franchise, because again, kind of first time really celebrity, at least for like kind of in this way. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very interested. I think it'll be fun.
We'll see. And then I did have a note, actually. They did go to talk to Peg and Mel's kids, and apparently they, I guess her daughter said like they clearly make each other very happy. So yeah, because she was kind of critical of him. In her hometown. So like I guess she kind of came around. But, and then the bloopers.
Yes, so
and they
good.
Mocked Mel for eating, which I'm like, you know what? Good for him.
Exactly. Man's gotta eat. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. And like Ashley, I was like, I always wanted to eat, and that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like not great continuity, because it's like you have like half eaten food,
and then you don't want to like be chewing and talking and stuff. So but like you said, overall, not my favorite season, but I think there are a lot of great people, and again, like I said, overall, I like Mel as a person, and I think he's very genuine. So yeah, I thought overall it was decent. So
well.
Wow.
Anyway.
Now we are officially done with these 2 shows. Yes. So, okay, we're done. So this was a long podcast, but we thank you guys so much again for watching. If you liked it, please consider subscribing, and then also subscribe or following us on Instagram at Ballrooms and Bachelors, and we will see you guys next month. Yes. Bye.